As you may have heard, after 25 seasons, the iconic show Arthur finally came to an end. Whether you watched it or not, Arthur was undeniably one of the most popular children's cartoons of all time. If you need a quick refresher, don't worry, I got you. Binky Barnes, Muffy Crosswire, The Brain, Francine Frensky, Buster Baxter, and of course, Arthur Reed. This was the gang. These characters attended Lakewood Elementary School in a fictional town named Elwood City. As they dealt with the hardships of life as an 8-year-old, they also had to survive the cruel tutelage of Mr. Ratburn's 3rd grade class. The show covered many scenarios children could relate to, such as failing a grade, going to summer camp, and having a newborn in the family. But as I've already mentioned, this was a program for children. It was a kids' show. So naturally, as we, the humans, grew older, we progressed from grade 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, and so on. Before we knew it, we'd be entering a whole new world called high school. We're a lot older now, our view on the world has changed, and we're dealing with a whole new set of issues. As teenagers, we could no longer relate to Arthur, and it became uncool to watch. It was right around this time Arthur's storylines would change and shift to a more educational approach. Instead of focusing on wholesome fun and simple topics like losing your dog or having chickenpox, the show would now cover more heavy situations like loved ones having cancer and receiving the news about a deceased grandparent.
Hey, Mom. Now? But I just got here. Okay, I'll be there soon. Is everything okay? Okay.
What is it?
She just said she has something important to tell me.
Luckily, I had no shame whatsoever, and I continued to watch Arthur well into my teenage years, much longer than I'd like to admit. Recently, I did a full run-through of the series, and as an adult, I can honestly say that I'm shocked at some of the more serious and controversial issues they touched on. So like always, grab a snack, grab a drink, and put the kids to bed as we do a deep dive on the most controversial Arthur episodes. Welcome to Elwood City, a wonderful kind of place where you can learn to work and play and get along with each other. In this peaceful city, you'll find aardvarks, rabbits, monkeys, cats, dogs, and bears coinciding in perfect harmony. The series basically starts with Arthur and his friends moving up to the 3rd grade, where they're assigned to Mr. Ratburn's class. This teacher has become infamous for giving massive amounts of homework. There's also rumors swirling around that he eats nails for breakfast, enslaves his students, and sometimes even decapitates them.
But I'm completely out of heads. I need heads. I can wait for girls' heads, but I must have boys' heads immediately.
Whoa, Ratburn sure has a thing for boy head, doesn't he? But we'll touch on that a bit later. All of the episodes remain pure and wholesome, right up until the midway point of season 1. This is our first taste of a controversial topic in Arthur. In the 13th episode, we see Arthur's little sister, DW, get a pet bird named Spanky. You know, all is well, they're having fun, hanging out and shit. Such a cute little bird. Then, Spanky dies. Okay, I promise to never do that again. But yeah, it's actually a touching episode for kids with pets to relate to, as it focuses on the inevitable grieving process that will occur when said pet dies. This might even be the first ever funeral scene in a kids show. Maybe. In season 2, I kid you not, Arthur has to deal with and conquer his fear of public nudity. He has this up dream that he somehow managed to go to school without pants.
I guess my mom just forgot to wake me up and...
He becomes so obsessed with the idea that he eventually speaks it into existence. He randomly rips his pants and partially exposes himself to a lunchroom full of children. Lunch Lady McGrady reassures him that it's okay if the whole school saw his bulge, as everyone gets embarrassed from time to time. In season 3, the Tibble Twins are inspired by this new TV show and they end up joining an imaginary cult. Being so brainwashed, they mistake DW for one of their ops. They end up getting into a big fight, which ends with Timmy Tibble throwing a swing at DW's face. Damn, you know how much that shit would hurt? And that looks like a big solid piece of wood. Pause. The end result is a bloody face and a trip to the hospital for stitches. A fairly decent episode on why you shouldn't abuse your classmates. In season 5, actually, we're not even going to talk about the episode where the brain draws a noose. Of course, as fate would have it, the only Nick that happens to be in the show is the one that draws a noose. And yes, he is black. His family is African and they celebrate Kwanzaa, as seen here. Going backward to season 4, believe it or not, Arthur is pretty much struggling with pornography addiction. Now hear me out. Arthur and his friends managed to find a discarded adult magazine, and for a few days, all they want to do is stare at crotch and tits. And to make things worse, to add insult to injury, the episode was suitably titled,
To beat or not to beat?
And it even gets so wild. At the 8-minute mark of the episode, Francine has a wild idea, and she yells out,
Squirting contest! Let's see who can squirt the farthest.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The previous jokes were used with clips taken severely out of context. In season 3, Arthur's mom and dad have a great big fight in an episode called Mom and Dad Have a Great Big Fight. The parents are making dinner when a jug of milk gets knocked over.
How could you do that? They'll be here any minute.
You put it there.
I don't have time to argue about this.
Who's arguing?
They get into a heated argument, which leads to Arthur and DW thinking that they hate each other. No domestic violence though, so don't be alarmed. A mid-tier episode that discusses the topic of divorce. But one episode that does have violence is season 4's debut episode, Arthur's Big Hit. Now, this is the episode that everyone knows but doesn't know they know. By now, I'm sure everyone has seen these memes, but I'm sure most don't even know the origin. Arthur spends his whole day putting together this model plane while trying to prevent DW from bothering him the whole time. Hours later, when he finally finishes, she sneaks into his room and accidentally breaks the plane. Arthur then gets enraged and beats the out of his little sister.
I told you not to touch it!
Karma catches up with Arthur later on, as Binky Barnes was dared to hit the next person he sees. Overall, a good episode that deals with sibling abuse and bullying. Skating on by to season 5, we land on Nerves of Steel. Buster is locked in his room as he tells the brain about his trip to Jim's drugstore. There's this new craze called cyber toys, and Buster's mom refuses to buy him one. So, what do you do when you're a spoiled only child and your mom won't get you everything you want? You steal, obviously. So Buster puts that in Arthur's backpack and makes him walk out of the store with it.
Hey, I saw that. I saw that lunchbox at school.
Phew.
Eventually, Buster's guilty conscience gets the best of him and he confesses to the whole thing. A really good episode that deals with the backlash of shoplifting and setting your friends up. Look at that. What an asshole. Way ahead in season 15, we have one of the more sad episodes. Grandpa Dave has to move closer to the family because he'll soon require assistance. He goes on to explain to Arthur and DW that he has a disease that's causing him to slowly lose his memory. It's kind of touching when others are trying to comfort Arthur and explain to him that his grandpa will always love him, even if he forgets him soon. It's an unexpectedly heavy episode that deals with dementia, probably my favorite in season 15. This season 18 episode was made to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the Hurricane Katrina disaster. So, Hurricane Sadie is slowly creeping towards Elwood City and the town prepares for impact. Some families experience blackouts, while other families experience small floods. Arthur is glued to the news and he sees the image of a dog stranded on the roof of a flooded house. This leaves him shaken up, but nobody is as shaken as the brain. He arrives at his parents' ice cream shop the next morning to find a tree has collapsed and destroyed the business. For the next few days, he can't sleep, he's mad jumpy and irritable. After seeing his mental health is on a decline, his parents arrange for him to speak to a counselor. This episode was really well put together, and I never thought I'd see Arthur cover topics like tragedy and anxiety. And that brings us to the final 3 episodes. I've saved the top 3 controversial episodes for last. So without further ado, Season 8, Episode 10. DW is out with Grandma Thora when she wanders off and overhears a kid arguing with his mom. The naughty boy says a bad word to his mother, but of course, the word was censored with a sound. When she gets back home, she busts into Arthur's room and asks him what means. Arthur can't believe his ears. His little sister is cussing. He warns DW never to say around mom and dad because she'll get in big trouble. The next day at school, DW asks the Tibble Twins if they know anything about. The untrustworthy kids explain that it's a swear word, and swear words have the power to turn adults into zombies that must obey your every command. DW starts daydreaming and is beginning to like the idea of zombie adults.
If you're happy and you know it and you really want...
Yes, DW, your every wish is my command.
Back at home, DW has a genius yet sadistic plan. She grabs Visita, the next door neighbor, and tells her to her parents. DW rushes up to her room and grabs a pair of binoculars to keep an eye on Visita. She waits patiently and waits and waits. She waits so long, now her mom is calling her for dinner.
Okay, DW, time for dinner.
She continues to wait and wait, but her mom calls her for dinner once again.
Now, DW.
Just a minute!
No, not just a minute. Your dinner's getting cold.
DW waits some more, and now she's getting impatient. And that's when DW's mom calls her for dinner one last time.
DW, are you listening to me?
Uh-oh.
Now, I took a lip reading course in college. I didn't pass, but I got pretty decent at it. If you follow her lips, she's clearly saying, cough. Now, I don't believe in child abuse or anything like that, but damn it, DW shouldn't be alive after this one here. Her mom should have took her ass out and reunited her with Spanky. Sorry, that was the last one, I swear. DW gets in trouble from her parents and the neighbors next door. They explain to her that swearing is bad and why she should never do it. Now, we've covered cancer, death, public nudity, noose, pornography addiction, domestic violence, bullying, shoplifting, and dementia. I don't even know what to categorize this as, but all I know is DW cussed her mom out. Okay, now, unfortunately, I have to serious things out a little bit. As you all know, September 11th, 2001 marks one of the most notorious terrorist attacks of all time. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting in Mr. Hansen's class when the principal called an emergency assembly. The whole school gathered in the gymnasium and the teachers attempted to explain the scenario to a bunch of kids under the age of 12. At the time, I really didn't get it, and I can't recall if I coped with it the way I should have. I just knew some bad stuff was going down and it was very serious. And that's why this season 7 episode was created. It's April 9th, it's springtime, it's beautiful outside, and it's a typical day. Little did the kids know this would be a day they'd never forget. All the students head to school. Arthur's dad is catering an event at the school, so he offers to drive him there. In the middle of his lesson, Mr. Ratburn starts to smell smoke, immediately followed by the fire alarm. The school is evacuated. Arthur panics because his father is still inside, but he's not allowed back in the building. Eventually, his dad is carried out with the assistance of a firefighter. Arthur is shaken up, but relieved. Buster shows up and has a serious case of FOMO. He's mad because he slept through his alarm and he missed an event that will go down in Elwood City history. Lakewood Elementary is shut down for a few days and the kids have to go to another school temporarily. The fire affects everyone differently. Francine is distraught because the school was destroyed. Sue Ellen is crying her eyes out because her journal of memories was destroyed. Arthur becomes overprotective of his father because for a split second he thought he died. And Binky developed a severe case of pyrophobia. All the while, Buster, for some reason, is still mad he missed the life-changing moment. Eventually, the school is reopened and the kids return to their original classes. Binky speaks to an adult about his fears. Buster helps Francine and Arthur cope, and Sue Ellen starts a new journal of memories. A great episode that was meant to help kids cope with worldwide tragedies. Now, to lighten the mood a little bit, I present to you the gayest episode of Arthur ever. In season 22, the kids are in the middle of a pop quiz when Mr. Ratburn gets a phone call from a mysterious lady named Patty. They discuss what kind of flower arrangements would look best. Once he hangs up the phone, the kids ask what the hell he needs flowers for. He lets them know it's for an upcoming wedding.
A wedding? Who's getting married?
Me.
So there you have it. It's now set in stone. Mr. Ratburn will soon be getting married to Patty. While hanging out at the Sugar Bowl that afternoon, the kids see Mr. Ratburn walk into the shop with his girlfriend Patty. They can overhear the woman arguing with the waiter. It seems she's a real pain in the ass perfectionist, and they think if Ratburn marries this lady, he'll grade much harder as a teacher. So the plan is to break them up by any means necessary. First, they Photoshop a pic of Ratburn, but Patty thinks it's hilarious. So, on to plan B. They try to hook up Ratburn with the librarian, Miss Turner. So they make a quick stop at Patrick's Chocolates to buy some treats, and they decide to write a poem on behalf of Mr. Ratburn.
My dear Padge Tuner, you are a book to me. A book I can't not put down. Shine on me like the lonely moon above, and together we will build a library. Nigel Ratburn.
Miss Turner does not fall for the poorly written letter. Well, now that all has failed, time for the last resort. They plan to go to the wedding and object when the time is right. On the day of the wedding, they notice Patty is at the front of the room instead of hiding in the back like a normal bride should. Then, all of a sudden, Mr. Ratburn comes walking down the aisle, hand in hand with Patrick, the same dude who sold them chocolates earlier. And now I'm forced to address the elephant in the room and ask the uncomfortable question. What the f*** are the students doing at Ratburn's wedding? When's the last time you went to one of your teachers' weddings? It simply wouldn't happen. Nah, but for real, this episode stirred up a bit of controversy due to the same-sex marriage being displayed in a children's cartoon. This episode was outright banned in Alabama and Arkansas. The two states refused to air the episode because they believed it was normalizing and glorifying gay marriage. To play devil's advocate, in season 1, episode 25, another wedding was shown, but this one was between man and woman, and nobody cared. No outrage, no ban. But when you think about the demographic, things look a bit different. Arthur is an 8-year-old, which means 8-year-old kids and younger are watching. Matter of fact, my nephew was 3 years old when he started watching Arthur. 3! Now, when I was 3 years old, my only concern was if I'd be able to put sugar on my Rice Krispies and watch Care Bears all day. I simply wasn't concerned about men getting married to other men. In all honesty, it boils down to this. Toddlers don't need to be focusing on any relationships. Take it out. Take it all out. I'm completely cool with that. But I'm just some random guy on the internet. You let me know what you think. And there you have it. We covered the most controversial Arthur episodes ever created. And damn it, I had a bit too much fun doing it. This was a love letter to one of my favorite cartoons ever, man. Arthur, top 5 of all time, baby. And that's it for today, guys. If you're still watching, I consider you my people, and I appreciate you. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and consider subscribing. I have a bunch of other videos you might find interesting. Until next time, chase your dreams, do what you love, and please don't cuss your mom out. I am the doctor, signing out. Gimme my music. I move in the nighttime. Shit, everything I do in the nighttime. Make one turn two in the nighttime. Zoom from that bright light. Move by my right side. Crew in the spot and it's like 2 o'clock. Wrist never been in cuffs, evident.